loss until, everybody connects, really, and that's the way the grant was set up. The next page of the spreadsheet, again, pretty much everything's the same for the grinder units that you see, and we just looked at a capture of the lining charge or a portion of the lift station, which is really the only difference between a gravity system and the grinders. It's the technology is different. So, again, that brings us closer to, the loss, which could be, like I said, written out over 20 years. It's 100,000, 105,000, and then we also looked at zeroing it out, and it came up with an $8,300 figure along with whatever the county would be charging. So what the county basically reserves the right to is, if they wanted to raise their rates every year, that's something we can't account for here. But if you wanted to balance out the fees, this is a method that you could use, or you can keep the fees the same of whatever the county charges.
Mr. Fender.
Thanks for explaining that to me, Town Manager. That made sense to me. I just have a question about, some years ago we created a fund for capital projects. Is that fund still intact? I mean, is any of that capable of applying to the deficit?
Well, my understanding, and this predates my tenure here, but there was a resolution passed that the funds under the 0.4 of a mil that are collected every year as part of ad valorem are for the resiliency project on South Sewell's Point Road. So, but I guess that would be something, it's a resolution, so that would be something that you all would have to approve or change or modify, and probably Mr. Torsivia
Part of that, but
would be the best.
do we have any idea how much is in that fund?
Roughly, it's just under $1 million, but we keep in mind right now, and again, we're talking more long-term because, nobody's being forced to connect to this, but right now we're using that money as, is to keep from having to borrow money, since we've had the problem with FEMA and getting the reimbursements out.
Well, that's kind of my question. I mean, if we have that money earmarked somewhere else, that's really my question. Otherwise, is it available to use for this purpose?
I think we've used maybe about $40,000 of it, but it's just a little over $1 million is what we figure is in there.
Any other comments?
Yeah,
Oh, there you go. Okay. Okay, Frank.
couple of comments. Number one, 0.4 of a mil was dedicated for major capital projects and is identified as such in our budget and the budget in brief that was presented to us during the budget period of time. Secondly, when I met with you and Ms. Pierce yesterday, Ms. Pierce indicated that there was $1.2 million in our capital project fund today. And so there is money there to be able to handle it. I'd like to point out a couple other things. There were 3 options that were presented. Option 1 was to adjust the gravity sewer connection costs equal to the same cost for the 171, 129 grinders. So in essence, right now, today, without the county increase coming in October, it's $7,000 if you sign up in the first year, $10,000 anytime thereafter. I mean, that's the letter that Leo Rapetti is sending out, or has sent out to the 169 connection.
Would you mind if I clarified that? That's
Sure.
That's the low end rate.
Right. Okay.
That's why the 8 to 12 with the $1,000 made it 7.
I understand. That's the base rate, and that's what we're talking about. And it's, in my understanding from discussions with you and Mariah, that the base rate includes the connection from the line to 35 feet. And then after that, they start charging you more money for each foot. And if they've got to run a line around the back of the house, it's going to cost more money. Of the 30 9 houses that have been connected to data and the money collected off the spreadsheet that Mariah gave me, 7 houses paid $7,000. The balance of them, of the 39, which would have been, 5 from 39, 34 houses, paid an average of $8,240, somewhere in that neck of the woods. So option out there is to say everybody's base rate would be the same. That's option 1, and regardless of whether it's gravity or grinder. Option 2 basically was to distribute the deficit over the Rio Vista homes. And, you know, as we started off our meeting tonight, when we said we're one nation under God, we're one town. And rather than break this down into neighborhoods, I think the one town ought to pay the same base rate. Obviously, there are going to be differences between the properties. If somebody has 2 septic systems, there's going to be a different charge. If there's a long distance to run, there's going to be a different charge. But the base rate ought to be, in my opinion, ought to be the same for everybody, regardless of whether you're getting a gravity system or a grinder system. And the load, if you were to turn around and load onto Rio Vista the whole $412,901,000 shortfall in the match, that means that their price would be $11,387 per connection, as opposed to $7,000 and $10,000. So,
Mayor, may I clarify one thing? Just also, Commissioner, when the amount is just not the pipe, we have to remember they have to decommission the septic tank and sanitize it and all that. I knew you knew that, but I just for the record.
Okay, Mr. Kurzman.
Yeah, when we voted, there were 3 of us up here that voted on the .4, and we had a room full of people, and a lot of people said they didn't want it, or at B, is it really going to go just to the water resiliency project, raising the road and keeping everything clean? A lot of people said we made sure that it was not going to go to sewers. That was one of the comments made when we did that back then. And we're sort of going back on what we said when we voted yes. It was the 3 of us at the time, Commissioner Fender, the Vice Mayor, and the idea was it was 100% was going to go to this, and it's going to sunset, I believe, in 2032. Then we're supposed to revert back to 2.87. The idea was to keep that so that as we do the road project, if things go over cost, we could keep everything reasonable, and if somebody's property needs a little fixing up because it winds up being a little more, we were taken care of on that. I feel that we said something at the time. Now to go back and change that, I don't feel is the right thing to do. And we did say that at the time, with 100% if it was supposed to go to the resiliency. And that means raising the roads, putting the infiltration pipes in to prevent flooding or reduce flooding, and also to maintain the outfalls, which is going to be pretty expensive. And also, when you do that, you also got to keep the mosquitoes so they don't breed. All that costs money. It's not free. And so one way or another, that $400,000 is coming out of the left pocket or the right pocket. The reason why the last one would make sense, originally when our town engineer, Joe, mentioned originally we were quoted to hook up, and, you know, I was hoping my street would be on the gravity system, to be honest with you. And, you know, we were talking at that time possibly about $16,000, $17,000 at the time to hook up to a gravity. And people were okay with it. What happens if you have a power outage? You don't need a generator. It works. You don't have to worry about using 2-ply tissue. It goes right through. You shouldn't have that with the grinders. So there's a lot of advantages to having that as well when you have the gravity. The gravity is a great system to have, that and the vacuum, but the vacuum you'd have to have a separate home that would control all of this, and somebody's going to live next to that home, and I didn't think that would be a good idea at all. Nobody wants to live next to a home with a vacuum system where everything is sorted out. Pretty much is the best way to put it. I'm going to hear what everybody else says. I also want to hear what the people here have to say tonight.
Defender first.
Just a quick question about the matrix. Town manager, I just want to make sure I understand the math correctly. Is the assumption based on the assumed number of connections at the time of this date is how the aggregate total came up? You're expecting, say, for the 129 connections in the middle tier, that as many as 97 will wait after July 2027 to hook up, and therefore their connection will be more expensive? Is that how this math comes to be?
That's what they're estimating, yes.
But if those of us who live in town, who are going through the upgrade now, connect immediately, those folks would pay less, and I think
Correct.
you said number 7,000. Okay,
Correct.
So anybody, you've chosen 8 for 129, because it seems like a low number. I mean, if I were in town and I had the opportunity to save $3,000, I probably would do it, I would think. But, so that at the end of the day, the $400,000 estimate is based on more people waiting longer.
Yes.
Just going to throw something in, add some or some obfuscation as opposed to clarity to what you're asking. When I sat down with the town manager and the finance director, I asked what were the assumptions that were used in building these, okay? And the assumption was that they were taking the actual cost that the 171 connections had incurred and building off of that. So as I mentioned earlier, there were 39 people of which they have numbers on today, 5 of which paid $7,000 and the other 34 paid an average of $8,200 or $8,400. The second thing was in terms of the numbers that you see for 129 and Rio Vista, that was taken off of the current percentages that have connected in the first year, second year, and third year, and they were layered into that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bob.
Right, it was extrapolated, I
Right.
guess, for,
And then the other assumption that was built into this was that Martin County Utilities is going to raise its connection charge on October 1st by $1,000. So the 7 will go to 8, the 10 will go to 11. And those were the 3 assumptions that
Will
were.
be done by then. So we
Right.
could, we could meet that deadline if we wanted to.
Sure. The other thing I'd like to point out to Commissioner Kurzman is I don't think we're going to have to pony up the $105,000 because as you look at this, the longer this time period, that first of all, the Department of Environmental Protection has said the match can be utilized on the connection fees. And the average septic system lasts anywhere between 25 and 40 years. And so those of you that have just recently put in a septic system or a new drain field, you got another 25 or 40 years before you're going to have to connect up to the sewer. You won't get a permit to put in a new drain field. You're going to have to connect. By that point in time, I would expect that Martin County Utilities will have also increased their rates.
I expect putting in a new septic system will cost more than $12,000 as well.
It may,
Yeah.
but Martin County Utilities will have increased their rates to the point where that $805,000, if we chose option 1 and said we make it equitable for everybody, will have been eaten up by inflation.
This is a good deal.
And so we're never going to have to come out of pocket with that. I don't believe we will.
You scared me with the $12,500, but we don't have to pay $12,500. We can pay
Well,
$8,000 or $9,000.
That was the other thing. I mean, there were 2 options presented, and then the recommendation that came out from the town was, forget the 2 options, let's just charge everybody $12,500, and there's no discount for the first
I
year.
don't see that.
That was
I
the
like that
assumption.
plan.
well, hold on a minute, that's, because that was the direction that the commission gave. that you wanted to charge the same amount. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'm doing what I'm charged to do, and that's why we came up with the best plan that we could.
Okay, if
you've got a
everybody
great
would
plan.
calm down now, I'd like to call some residents up to see what they have to say.
Mayor, one more, just.
Okay, come on, short.
Okay. I was wondering what happens with the shortfall. Nobody has told me. I mean, we could philosophize that nobody's going to come out and ask for the 400,000, which would be nice if nobody does, and eventually 40 years from now, if it's due then, I'll be dead probably, because most of us will be up here. But it just, yeah, so, but will they be looking for this money in 10 years, 20 years, 5 years? Nobody gave me an answer on that yet.
Over the years.
Everything that we put out was for the match would come from the connection fees. We were totally open when we did the application that way, and we were totally open when we went through the contract. And I believe, Glenn, I don't know if it was you or Susan had been through the agreement, but, it's spelled out in at least 3 locations in our contract. So it's pretty prevalent.
This is a capital project, regardless of what you said before.
Yes, so in other words, the last payment won't be due until everybody's hooked up? Is that how that works?
Yep. That's what it says.
Then I'm okay with it.
Told you, it's a great deal.
Okay, I'd like to call up Art Schwartz. There he comes.
He didn't hear
Yeah,
you.
he's-
Yes.
yeah.
It's coming.
Art Schwartz, 21 Lantana. Shout out to all of my fellow neighbors being here. The idea that this commission would consider increasing the cost of sewer conversion for the Rio Vista areas, it's unconscionable. As I recall, about 80% of us that live in that area were not in favor of having conversion whatsoever. And now you wouldn't have burdened us with additional cost because you guys don't plan properly? As things went, as I remember it, the commissioners screwed up by approving a septic to sewer conversion for 706 systems, of which the county indicated right from the beginning that they would only support 350 grinders. You know this. You heard it many times over. I'm not the first to tell you. And the county never wavered on that 350 number. The arrogance and the commitment to the falsehood that conversion for all of South Sewell's Point was necessary regarding the majority of residents' objections has brought us to this pivotal point in time. The septic to sewer conversion combined with the current resiliency project may have qualified this commission as one of the worst in town history. Sorry. You've earned it. May I suggest that you begin your rehabilitation by spreading the additional gravity sewer costs through all of South Sewell's Point. We in Rio Vista shouldn't be hammered because of poor planning. We didn't ask for gravity. We didn't ask for sewers at all. And you're going to tell us we've got to pay more money? Stop it. And Commissioner Kurzman, with all due respect, you're talking about, you gave your word, whatever, about the mills. Let me tell you something. High Point was the last area that was supposed to get sewer conversion. What happened to the people on Riverview? They were supposed to be next, but you guys got it. How'd that happen? So with all due respect, what's right is what's right. And I suggest you begin by doing what's right and spreading the cost evenly among the residents, all the residents of South Sewell's Point. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have Walt Javorse. Walt Javorse.
Yeah, hi, my name is Walt Jaworski. I live on 4 Pineapple Lane. I have a question regarding the grinder system that's been installed on Pineapple, when we already have a gravity system in place. why did we spend the extra money to put a grinder system when we already have a functioning type system installed? Please explain, somebody.
I'll be more than happy to meet with you after the meeting and explain it to you.
Yeah. And just to clarify, I know that the system was inspected a couple of years ago and was found to be in good condition. The gravity system.
See, if I may, Mayor, okay, because normally we don't comment on public comment, but it's just not the pipe. You have to have a lift station.
We have a lift station.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
But, well,
No mechanics in it, but a lift
well,
station exists.
it's where the location is, but there's no.
It's on South Sewell Point Road.
Okay, well, I'm not going to get into a debate with you, but I'll be more than happy to talk to you about it later. And our engineer's right here.
Pardon?
Okay, well, you can stay afterwards, and we'll have that conversation.
There's no discussion back and forth with the commissioners. We only let that happen just because it happened. Okay, got anything else to say to us, sir?
No, I just wanted an answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ken Strick?
Hard act to follow some of these speakers. Try to be a little nicer. So first, I recognize being a commissioner is a thankless job, right? You're dedicating a tremendous amount of your personal time for, I don't even know if there's remuneration or not, but whatever, you're here to help support the community. That being said, I think there's two keys to being successful at the job and that are critical to the job, and that's one is keeping your word, as Mr. Kurzman said, and also being fiscally responsible. And I do think with this project, there's been a lot of challenges on both of those fronts. I mean, I moved here 7 years ago. At the time I moved here, the number one issue facing this community was the flooding on South Sewell's Road and the adjacent areas. That was the number one priority. A distant fifth was the discussion around septic to sewer conversion. And at that time, the commission then, which many of you were on, said, we're going to take a town vote, a commission vote, and a town vote before we do anything. Of course, we all know that never really happened. The town did not have a say individually on whether they actually wanted this. And I think it's overwhelming that most of the people in the town don't want this. That being said, I think the one thing the town that you have to believe is that we are one town. And if you're going to keep to your word, the quotes at the time were 7 to 10 or 8 to 10, we can, whatever it is, whatever the people paid on the first part of the Sewell's Point conversion is what everybody should pay. And anything above that should come out of the town budget. It's as simple as that. Why should one neighbor, and I don't live in a grinder area. I live in the archipelago. I don't even see when we're getting this on the map. So I don't even have a dog in this fight. But it's about right and wrong and keeping to your word. If you couldn't lock in the rate with the county, that's on the commission. This town has increased its revenue by $2 million in 5 years. There's plenty of money. If you spent it all, again, that's on you. And that's being fiscally irresponsible. I drive up and down Sewell's Point Road, there's all new lights, all up and down Sewell's Road. Who asked for that? Nobody needed that. We want flood control. I met the guy on my block who's installing the pipes for the thing. They're putting a new fire hydrant on my neighbor's yard. I live on a block that has 3 houses. There's a fire hydrant at the front of the block. Why do I need a fire hydrant 2 houses down? It's crazy. I mean, who's watching the pennies? If you watch all the pennies, it'll all easily add up to $400,000. And so that's my only word to you. Again, I'm not going to be critical. I would never be critical individual. You all are trying to do the best job you can with limited resources, limited information. But start trimming the fat that's in all of these projects that are all pet projects of some of you up there, not what the community wanted. Let's get the road fixed, but be fair to the people who live here. If the person on the corner in whatever that first zone was paid $7,000 and that was the price, everybody should pay $7,000. It's as simple as that. And you have enough money or can find money over the next 3 years. As I think Commissioner Fender said, people aren't connecting on day one. So you have plenty of time to find the money if you don't want it to come out of the 4 mil. But if that money is for that, then let's get that road started because that was the #1 project that people needed. Thank you. And thank you for what you do.
Bonnie Flint.
kind of wish I wasn't as well-known here, but this has been going on for 15 years that I'm aware of. And at least 3 of the 5 of you were around when you voted this project in. How the hell did you think you were paying for this? We shouldn't even be in this situation now of looking to scare up 400,000. Fortunately, you know, some good and future thinking prevailed, starting to escrow money towards capital expenditures. So whoever, I think that was Mr. Daniels, who initiated that perhaps 2 years ago or so. But in any case, we are where we are. However, I'm feeling very neglected as we figure out the numbers here. There's 93 of us that aren't even being considered or planned for as we're scrounging around to get the extra dollars for the current commitments. That's the group from Town Hall down to Ridgeland, I think. What do we, chopped liver? I mean, where does that come in? Please, I wish we could open it up so I could understand the thinking or lack thereof. Frank Bender, I mean, you said, oh, well, they don't even want it, so we aren't going to make a plan for them now. Well, you need to plan for all people, all neighborhoods, and work with a number that'll work for everybody. Okay? I mean, it's solid financial thinking.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Any other discussion? Seeing none?
No, I haven't. Are you
No.
talking about?
Go ahead.
Well, first, I want to say that I agree with Dave that .4 mils, we were here, it was always about the road project. We said capital projects, I think, to give it a little more space, but it was always about the road project. So I agree that was never meant for sewer, and I would never support using it for sewer because that was always about the road project. That has always consistently been this commission's first priority, and none of those mills have ever been used on any sewer project because we agreed to it and that's what we've been doing. And that's what everybody wanted. So thank you for bringing that up. Also, I understand the concept of everybody paying the same base price. I get that. The concept of everybody paying what the first person paid when they hooked up just logically doesn't make sense because of the passage of time, time value of money, inflation. It doesn't make sense that some people are getting to hang on to their money and earn money on that money and pay the same rate that somebody paid for it like 4 years before. So there's that whole concept, that part doesn't make sense. I do understand the everybody paying the same base rate. I mean, it looks like right now, if you guys were kind of talking about that 400,000, nobody's going to come collecting. There's the question of just leaving it the way it is. If that's the case, all the residents of Rio Vista, if I'm looking at this chart correctly, are going to be paying less than anybody else who's getting grinder. So this scenario, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so that's what the commission has kind of been leading towards with that. I would ask staff about the wiseness of leaving that kind of open or not open. If we were going to bring it up to a generalized base rate, then some of the Rio Vista people would be paying more to do a generalized base than what if we just stuck with this first chart. Is that correct, Commissioner Tinicus?
So first chart,
Yes. If you said, okay, let's not worry about collecting the 412,000, but let's bring everybody up to the same base rate. Because right now, Rio Vista, July 26 to October 26, their total is 5,100.
yeah, actually it comes out to 59.54. And,
Where's the extra?
I don't know, you just take the 452,500 and
Oh, because I'm just talking about the first from July to, the very first people, right out of the gate, would be paying 5,100.
right.
Right.
But then there's a shortfall on a match of $412,000.
Right.
How do you plan on dealing with that?
Well, I think Commissioner Kurzman had a good point too, in that, the concept of everybody paying the same. I understand the equality of that, but they're also getting a different system, the gravity. Should you be paying that much more? I don't know. I'm open to the conversation, but you are getting a different system. To your point, when the power goes out, people who have a grinder have to get a generator. Is this correct? If you have a gravity, you do
Yes.
not need to get a generator. So you are getting a different system. I'm not as, we always talked about from the get-go, 8,000 to 12,000. For the most part, all of these numbers except for the 12,005, they're all in that range, so it all seems reasonable, because at the end of the day, nobody in these areas that are getting sewer has to hook up until their septic fails. So you can just use your septic till it fails and then take that money and put it towards it. So it's all very loose, and I'm willing to go with, what the majority of the commission wants, but there's so many variables. When are you going to hook up? What system do you have? And somehow we're making everybody pay the same. I don't know. That's why whatever you guys want to do, I would ask staff about the wiseness of the 412,000 deficit, because you guys know a lot more about the grants and how all that works than we do. And we did have the incident with the grants where we thought it was all done, and then then we had to do new procedures. They changed grants after they were done, so there's always the idea that they can change things later or say you have to pay it. I think that's not totally out of the question, so.
If I may, just a point of clarity, what changed was the county's authority. If everybody recalls, every time we've gone in to do a septic to sewer project, we had to get an interlocal agreement with the county. We can't do anything in Sewell's Point without the county agreeing to it, because they're the ones that have the sewer plant. They're the ones that take over our sewer lines. Even though we're paying for it with a grant, they take it over so they can provide services to our residents. So their rates are what you need to connect to the system. We've always used the thought process of 8 to 12,000 as your cost, because there's variables, as I said at the beginning. There's some properties that have 2 septic tanks. There's some properties that have 300 feet of pipe that they need. There's some properties that they have to connect 2 structures on their property. So there's a lot of variables. So to say that we were going to pay X number of dollars and that's the way it's always been, no, that's not correct. We've always said, as long as I've been here, that it's 8 to 12,000. And, the county has not authorized any other connections. So that's why we don't have the time with the grant dollars we have to put in those other connections that are up here on the north end of South Sewell's Point. Sorry.
Okay. Any more discussion? All right, seeing none. Let's see here. Anybody on the commission has some closing comments?
Well, I'd like to make a motion there, Commissioner Burrell.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to move that we adopt option 1, which is adjusting the gravity sewer connection cost, the base rate of 179 and 129 grinder stations. And that if there is a shortfall at the end of the grant period, 40 years or 25 years down the road, that it be taken out of our capital improvement fund.
And, Mayor?
Yes.
I have a question for council. Are you 100% sure that nobody's going to come back at us 5, 10 years from now, 15 years from now for this 400,000? I want to make sure.
You can never be 100% sure of anything, especially when you're dealing with federal government, state government, and grants. As the manager said, rules change. We've all seen FEMA, for example, claw back millions of dollars from local communities after they've approved grants. So I can't give you that guarantee, because depending on the administrator of FEMA or the different grants that we receive, there's no guarantee.
I feel before we even take a vote on this, I'd like to know, just for argument's sake, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they call us out for the 400,000. where's the money going to come from? I'm asking my fellow commissioners and staff, I'd like to have an answer on that. That's,
Mayor, may I ask Commissioner, because on his motion? Commissioner Tidakis, you're saying option one?
Excuse me.
Time out,
Discussion's up here, folks.
time out.
You're saying option one, so the deficit would be 105,000?
That's correct.
So he's talking about the one that has the 105,000, not the 400.
Right.
okay, so with the one that says 100, okay, not the 400?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Sure, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm moving that we adopt option one, and that should there be a shortfall, that it comes out of the capital improvement fund. And I think in the conversations that our town staff has had with the Department of Environmental Protection, they understand that the match money is coming out of the connection fees. And as I said, I don't believe that we're going to have to end up paying $105,000 because as Martin County Utilities, because of the interlocal agreement, raises its rates over a period of time, the connection fee is going to end up going up, But we're going to start off with a base rate, and then it's out of our hands once we turn this over to Martin County Utilities.
Can I ask you a question about your motion again?
You can ask
Sorry,
away.
so we can clarify. The fact when, if there's a shortfall at the end out of capital improvement fund, that is something that I don't support, but I also know it will have sunsetted by then unless the entire town is hooking up by 2032, which I highly doubt. So can we just put in something different? Otherwise, I support the motion.
Well, okay. The capital improvement fund, I think, doesn't sunset until 2035. I may be wrong on that, but I think,
Okay.
But the funds in there don't sunset, they're still in the fund.
yeah, the money's still there. That money's not going away. And today you have $1.2 million in that fund. We're collecting roughly about $400,000 a year on that .04 mills.
Okay, how about when the road project is done? Because it was always about the road project. Okay, well, let's put it in there. It was always about the road project, always. And I don't want to go back on that, because I was the mayor when we raised taxes, when we did that whole thing. And I'm
We'll take the
following
road
through.
project.
It was the road project. So if the road project's done, then yes.
I'll be more than happy to amend the motion that it comes out of the capital improvement fund after the road project has been done, after the current phases are done.
Let me, Mayor, please.
Okay, Mr. Kurzman.
Yeah, one of the things we said, after it sunsets, the money that remains in there is going to go to cleaning the outfalls, repairing the outfalls, and also mosquito control and other things that are necessary for other improvements. So I'm not going to throw that away, and the money that was brought in for the capital improvement fund is going to stay with the capital improvement fund. That was our word, and I am not going to go back. You're not going to touch a penny of that money, because we said it was going to go towards something, and
Well, the motion will die for lack of a second then.
What about a suggestion, another
That's all kind of nice
suggestion?
put up here.
Let's-
Can I make another suggestion to his
Go
motion?
ahead, go ahead.
What about, because the commission's going to be different then too. So just say the commission can convene to determine how to use it. Because I'm not going to be here in 2035 on the dais, so.
Yes, you are.
So it's so far off and it's becoming a sticking point that I would suggest that we just,
Kick the can down the road?
that part of it, yes, for the future commission to decide. That's what because I think there'll be a future commission when everybody is hooked up to sewer.
So restate what you're asking.
That you would choose option one.
And if
And
there's
then
any shortfall,
If
how
there's
does,
any shortfall, the decision goes to the commission at the time to determine how funds are accounted for. Which is kind
In other
of,
words, we're taking the CIP out of there. Okay?
all right. But it's option one so that everybody pays the same base rate starting out.
Yes.
Okay, I'm fine with that. Is that a second?
Town attorney.
I'll second that.
Okay, hang on. Don't second anything yet. Town attorney.
I just want to clarify that when you all are approving option one, you realize that's an estimate, an approximation. These are not precise numbers. Okay, just want to make that clear. I don't want
Thank you.
someone later on to say, oh, you agreed to $1.23 and now it's $1.27. So,
No, but it all starts at the same base rate, Glenn. And then, obviously the county, because they own the system, if they're going to bump the base rate in October, it
I
gets
just want
bumped in
everybody to be
October.
aware of that, yes,
Okay.
it's the best estimate, best approximation, but I hear you, it's the same base rate, but
Yes.
it's going to change with inflation and other things.
Mr. Fender.
So I'm compelled to second your motion, although it may already be seconded. But before I do that, or need to do that, I feel compelled to also say that I've been doing this discussion now for over 10 years. And I heard several very specific comments in public comment, and I'll just say that some of it was actually incorrect, but that's okay. But I'm also willing to stay after and talk to you outside, or talk to each of you one-on-one by phone on your very specific grievances, because it's important to me that the town realizes that the decision process that was made that got us here today may not be as far off base as some of you might internalize, and it's okay that you do, but I'd also like the opportunity to talk to you one-on-one, or even in a group afterwards, to try to express how we got to where we are, because really some of the comments were not on point. But anyway, with that said, I'll let you second, if you're going to second that.
If you want to do it,
I'm happy to second it.
second away.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Mr. Kurzman?
Yeah, I just can't, I want to protect the general, the .4, whatever's in there, as I said I would. I can't support anything. If you want to take it out of ad valorem taxes and use that, I could do
It's not
that.
specified how it will be used, but unfortunately,
but-
that will be how it will be used in the future if we don't include it in this. I mean, that's okay, that's fine.
If we're going to do it, that would be the way to do it, because I'm not
don't
going to
have
go
to
back. Okay. Well, it is specific because they could go into that. I want to protect that.
The motion is not specific.
No, I understand. I'd like it to be specific.
Let me restate the motion for you.
Yeah.
Okay? The motion is basically that we're going to adopt option one, where the base rate will be the same for all of the community, for all the connections, okay? And that if there is a shortfall in the future, it will be handled by the commission at that point in time, because other than Commissioner Mayfield, who's a young lady, the rest of us are pretty old, and we're not going to be around. So,
Thank you so much.
I'm just calling it the way it is, Vinnie, I'm not going to be around, let's put it that way.
Mr. Titigus, you want to make any other comments?
Nope.
Okay, we have a
Oh, I have
motion.
I have a quick comment. Sorry.
Can't get-
I just wanted to thank Commissioner Kurzman, because I believe in that .4 too, and I didn't realize that any excess was, I forgot, I hadn't looked at it lately for the maintenance utility, or the maintenance and upkeep of said road, so thank you. That's it.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any comments? Seeing none, call the roll.
Vice Mayor Mayfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Fender,
Yes,
Commissioner Kurzman,
No, because I want to protect the .4.
No, but we are.
We didn't say, but you said wherever the future commission decides, so they could go ahead and take it out of that fund. That's the problem.
But they can do that even if they can do whatever they want. They can
Doesn't
undo
matter.
it.
Take the vote.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
You got the votes.
That's correct, my bad, I apologize. That was bad.
Commissioner Titicus,
Yes.
Mayor Burrill.
Present.
You're voting president?
That's it, present.
That's illegal.
vote, you have to vote.
You have to vote.
You can't abstain.
You don't have a
It's
choice,
important.
Vinnie.
Yeah, you don't have you have to vote.
The only thing in the middle of the road are yellow stripes and dead
I
armadillos,
tried to
brother.
do it one time, they wouldn't let me. I get where you're at, but you do actually have to vote according to ordinance.
out, then I'll have to vote. If you're going to keep a CIP, or you're going to take any money from the whole town, then I'm going to have to say no.
Motion passes
3-2.
3-2.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none. Is there any discussion from staff?
I
Commissioner
guess
Mayfield?
I'll do my closing comments. I'm good. I'll do it. Go ahead.
Just for clarity, then we'll move ahead with the ordinance and the resolution in reference to the fees. Okay. And we'll have that at the next meeting. There was a comment that I've had from, I can't remember now if it was a commissioner last month or if it was community members, but just for a point of clarification, on our official list of meetings, we were having 2 meetings in April. Now, if we see that we don't need the second meeting in April, that's something we can deal with if the commission wants to deal with it. But right now, officially, we have the second Tuesday and the fourth Tuesday on the calendar, unless you all want to change that.
What's the date of the fourth Tuesday in April?
28th, I
April
believe.
the 14th and April the 28th.
I will be on my way back from London that day. I probably will not be here.
Okay? Do you want to change? Do you want to,
Is it vacation or?
London Marathon.
do you want to give me direction, or we'll just stay as planned and,
Problem with that date? I won't be here on the 28th of April, but that's okay. We can still have a meeting.
I think we should only have meetings if we need a meeting, so
okay?
Once a month is enough, right?
we get busier in June and
Because
May
of the
because of the
budget.
budget, so.
Okay, well, I'll see, and then I can contact you all, and we can make the decision at the first meeting,
Okay.
so. And I think that's all I had to tell you. Sorry. If I
Okay,
forgot something, I'll just email you.
all right. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I've got some comments.
You've got- Get out of here.
Sorry.
Wow.
Commissioner Kurzman, I have to apologize again. I should not have interrupted you when you were voting. Thank you. Anyways, I apologize.
No
No,
apologies.
but anyways, I shouldn't have done that, and I apologize. So anyways, I should not do that. I apologize. Also, fellow commissioners, next week, Treasure Coast Regional League of Cities Luncheon in Fellsmere. Everybody's invited. It's a good time at the Marsh Landing Restaurant, 11:15. Would love to see you there.
How far is that drive?
Hour and 15, I think, Matt?
At least.
Well, yeah. It's
And
not
is
close.
there a business meeting beforehand? Usually
Yes.
like at 10:30, is it, or?
Yeah, but I think that's just,
Yeah,
we don't have to.
right, for the board, okay. Mayor, there is one thing that our town engineer reminded me I wanted to run by you all, if you can bear with me one moment. In the way that we've been handling the resiliency projects, we have generators that, we would move out after a storm and set them up to run the pumps. So if we need a flooding situation, the pumps are made so we can bypass a lot of what we're doing, and our permit allows us to do that. The prices on the portable generators have been increasing, which adds about $600,000, I think, to the current project that wasn't accounted for. So we get a better rate of having a standalone generator, plus we don't have to worry about carrying it, it's going to be there, and we can use telemetrics to, signal the pumps on and off and to exercise them by using our phones. So I do have a picture I wanted to show you of, it should be on your monitors. That's just the one that's over in Homewood Park, that's basically a hedge that we're putting around the slab that's there to cover it. But I'll show you what the generator looks like too. and that's what the generator looks with no landscaping. But keeping in tune as to what we want to do, I would endorse, landscaping it so it's not unsightly for the residents.
Agree.
I have a question, Minnie.
Mr. Titigus.
Currently, we own 3 portable generators, correct?
One is what we own.
Oh, I saw 3 of them parked, or there were 2 parked in the police garage.
We've only had the one, and that's the one that we got for Phase 1.
Okay. What do you plan on doing with that one?
That one we're going to use for Phase 1 until Phase 2B is done, and that generator will be big enough to handle both Phase 1 and Phase 2 pumps. And then we'll need one for Phase 3, and then eventually when we get to Phase 4, which is the north part of South Sewell's Point Road, we'll have a pump system there. So my guess is and we are moving, we're pretty close to getting a grant from FEMA for doing Phase 4, and my guess is we'll include the cost of a new generator that would be built in at that location. And then
Okay.
we'll just sell the other one as surplus.
Mr. Fender.
Okay. You cannot, can you remove it from the trailer and make it a permanent, fix it on the ground?
Let me ask Joe if he promises to be short.
No, he's going to have to stay up there because mine's going to
You're
lengthen this
still,
out a little bit.
okay.
So when we acquired the Phase 1 generator, we were only going to have two pumps in that area, and that's what's out there, 2 pumps. Well, that generator will handle 2 pumps, but the other phases combined, Phase 1 and 2, Phase 3, and Phase 4 will each have 4 pumps. When you go to that, you have to go to a larger generator. The generator that we have will not work there. Now, we can use that. I mean, other options is we can have a generator. Maybe we could, maybe, for example, just so you know, there's going to be gravity systems, not only the one at Rio Vista, but they told us currently everything north of Ridgeland is going to be gravity. So guess what? There's going to be lift stations there. So we currently could use that generator to maybe help the county. Maybe we'd give it to the county or loan it to the county, because they're going to want to use a generator on those systems if there ever is a need, of course. May not need it. So point being is you need a larger generator for 4 pumps, okay? And so we're going to combine what we found out in the first phase, where we placed the generator, they would not reimburse us for that generator. So we had to pay for that, and we used it as our match. The new generators are being put up the peninsula into higher areas above the 500-year storm event, and they will reimburse us for those. So that's the progression of how we've got to where we're at.
Question for Mr. Daniels. Has a grant application been submitted for Phase 1?
Phase 1, yes. Well, we've already finished out Phase 1.
Phase 4.
Or Phase 4, rather?
Phase 4, yes. The FEMA grant.
Was that-
We haven't heard back from them yet because of,
When was that submitted?
It's been a while because we've been in a substantial number of reviews. It's been a long time.
I can get you that information.
If you would.
Yeah.
I'd like to know when it was submitted to
Okay.
the commission here to review it. Thank you.
Mr. Fender.
So I invite anybody to come visit Oakwood Drive. It's awesome, by the way. It's a daily adventure.
I think it looks like Lebanon right now.
But it's all right, progress. But I'm most concerned about the June date. So I'm hoping you and
Date.
June date, yes.
you guys are going to make me feel a lot better about making that date, or a contingency plan, what we do as a backup if we do not make that date, because we cannot lose those grants.
Right. So far, we're on schedule. We do have a meeting tomorrow in reference to the septic to sewer, and then the resiliency, I have meetings on Thursday. So, my schedule's more meetings than anything else now. But yes.
Let's say we don't meet the June date.
Then we will get reimbursed for whatever we have in the ground.
Do we have any extension capability?
No.
Do we,
No, because we've already tried that, but, you know, in their contracts, June 1st is the date. June 30th is our deadline. So we have another month, but I don't want to give them another month, because then that just means we're going to keep progressing.
well, I'm just concerned that the $100,000, $400,000 we've been quibbling about tonight is a drop in the bucket if we don't make the June date. So we can't miss that date.
Well, I
Or
believe
we
this-
have to have a plan.
Yeah, I believe all the septic to sewer is going to be in, and after my meeting with the contractor for the resiliency project, I will have a better answer for you by the end of the week.
Well, I wake up and talk to the pipe layers every morning because I walk my dogs by them, and they seem less confident than you.
Yeah. I don't sleep
Okay.
nights, so
All right.
just
How are you
to,
sleeping, Joe?
he sleeps pretty good,
Kind of
probably.
amazing if you look at the number. I really do wish everybody go down there and look at all the contractors working.
Well, there's a
Yeah.
lot.
Oh,
7
that's amazing.
contracts working with 5 contractors. There's not a public works project in the tri-county areas that's doing this. So we've got their attention. Yes, I know, one of the first things, reason why the Phase 2 contract that you've been talking to is because we have a water main that we've just got certified, and they're making conversions to everybody's water service from the old to the new. So the gentleman that complains about 2 fire hydrants,
Yeah,
he's probably looking at an old fire hydrant on the old line, and we're putting in new lines on the new ones, and we'll take those old ones out and we'll grout that line. So there's the confusion of new and old lines out there. But the fact of the matter is the low-pressure force main, the one that we had the concern of the bidders, he is doing phenomenal. He's ahead of everything. The lining people in the Rio Vista area, they're ahead of their schedule and getting the lining done. They're actually now lining services, okay? They put in all the lining, and we had one location where we had a route that they had to use special equipment on. They haven't finished that, but they've taken out a good portion of that route. So that's going on. The lift station, we're a little disturbed because, remember, the same contractor that's doing the low-pressure force mains is doing those first because he has to put the water main in place, right? Well, he's getting delivery on the lift stations this coming week, not this week, but next week. So all the projects are moving along. I plan on meeting the deadline. And Phase 3 is in there also. I mean, there are things like the purpose, and the reason I stopped Bob was on the generators. We have certain deadlines on different types of grants. The FEMA grants have some different deadlines than the DEP resiliency grants. And so we're obviously trying to make sure we get certain items done at certain times. But all those are happening. And tomorrow, the reason it was important is because the one generator he needs to acquire, he is the bigger generator for Phase 3, which will finish that project as far as generators go. He will be able to get that in probably a matter of 2 weeks. So that's pretty good, because usually we've been waiting 8 weeks for a generator.
I
So,
believe the guys on my street will get the pipe done in time, but I think that there's more to do. There's some, I mean, what constitutes success? Because do they have to be paved over? Do we have to have the curbs in place? I mean, it's a
so let's
nightmare.
talk about what they've done already.
Yeah.
Which you may not have seen. They put the water main in, they're converting services. That's being done by one contractor.
Yeah.
They have put in all the low-pressure force mains, okay? And that's by another contractor. And then they're putting in the storm line. And to be honest with you, of the people that were having problems with this, how fast they're moving on the storm. To be blunt, our Phase 3 drainage contractor was a little more efficient, but these guys are doing it, and this is the first time they've done this, but they'll get it done. We've also had some changes on some outfalls and so forth. There's different things we run into, but we're hitting them all, and like I said, they're up the street now. I was worried that they were still on South Sewell's Point Road. They're getting closer to River Road, which is good, because then the next step is they're going to get the line down, the many lines down South Sewell's Point Road from basically Phase 1 STA all the way to Oakwood, and that's the big part that they have. But of course, What'll happen once they get all the lines and everything is they can actually do the paving on your street, even though they're going to be, they need to get the paving and raise the road in South Sewell's Point Road.
Does the paving being done constitute part of June date? I mean, can we
Yes.
do some
Yes.
stuff after
No.
June?
Let's just put it this way, we are going to get everything done by June.
All right. So I haven't asked you this in a while, I'll change the subject, but once upon a time, we passed an ordinance for lateral overhead lines. And are those being considered in this? I don't want to slow you down, but I would like to see some of those power lines come down.
Well, just as good thing you brought that up, because we actually inspected them the other days. Whenever a line crosses the road, there are sleeves under the road for it. That's what the rule was, remember?
Yes, absolutely.
Those are in place.
Yeah, awesome.
And we're making sure they're marked, and so people can use them in the future. So those are
I suppose there's
in.
some up there. I don't know if the people are going and getting to move their lines. That would be the next thing after June.
Well, it's got to be FP&L, and that's, that's been the problem. I know the issue came up with the streetlights.
Yeah.
Well, that's been something that, been 4 years in the making of
Yeah.
converting over the streetlights to FP&L, and they decided that they wanted to put in new lights.
Well.
And they were supposed to put them where our existing lights were, but
Despite the
obviously,
comments, I get people walking up the street like, when are we going to get the streetlights? I'm like, we're working on it. And so, we got plenty of pressure to get streetlights, even though we heard otherwise tonight, but.
Well, so just so you know, we had to stop them in the Phase 2 area. Remember, they're going to be doing all that other work there, and we're going to have to take them down and pay for them to be taken down and put back in place. So we told them, do not put the ones in the Phase 2 area, which is your area, Oakwood.
One's right at the end of Oakwood right now.
Well,
I guess
they
take it
put them
back.
in, and we tried to tell them, don't put them in, because we're going to have to take them down to get all the other work in place.
Okay.
So that's what I'm telling you.
All right, well, I'm still, I'm counting on you, brother. Keep at it.
Mr. Torsivi has been patiently waiting.
Only to let you know that Thursday, April 23rd is a day you will wait for so much. It's the 4-hour ethics training that the Treasure Coast is putting on at Indian River State College in Fort Pierce. So if you want to be
What day
there,
is that?
Thursday, April 23rd at
April
9,
23rd.
9 till 1.
and who is the professor that's?
They got
teaching
some rookie that they called up from the minor leagues.
Oh, man, I wish I could see him.
Actually, Elizabeth's going to lead off, and then there'll be, I think we have 3 lawyers altogether, because it's tough to do 4 hours by one person.
I know, we
nobody
do
wants-
it here with a couple of people just.
I want to be able to sit there and answer questions. So
You-
if I'm giving a presentation, that's not a good thing, you know?
You know what's tougher? Listening to a lawyer talk for 4 hours.
Oh my God, that's impossible. Listening to yourself for 4 hours is hard too. So, but anyway,
Mr.
of course you
Tissus.
can still do it online. There's still
Mr.
lots
Titicus.
of courses online.
Yeah, just a comment to Joe. I heard from one of the residents on Rio Vista today that I guess your job supervisor for that was up there with a set of plans and was nice enough to walk through the plans with the gentleman in terms of what would happen with his property. And he was very appreciative of the fact that he had an opportunity to talk to the gentleman. Perhaps, you could do a workshop for the Rio Vista people where you lay it out property by property in terms of what's going on.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, just so everybody knows, because I know what was happening there is, we line the sewer line where it's placed, where it is in the ground. And now remember, it was built in the 1970s, okay? So all we're doing is lining it there, and where the services were in the 1970s place, we're putting those services back. If we don't do that, we will be tearing up the road and all sorts of different things. If that's not in the program, we don't have time for that. So from that point where we put the service, his septic tank may be on the other side of his house. It could be anywhere. I mean, but the fact of the matter, all I'm just trying to tell you is that's part of that on-site sewer extension. And so I'm just pointing out, there's been some comments about that, and I said, well, if we went and changed the services all around, we would have tore up a lot more stuff, and it would have cost a lot more money, plus it would have delayed the project.
I'm not suggesting that. I'm just suggesting that if you were able to turn around and have a meeting here at Town Hall, invite the residents of Rio Vista to come in and take a look at, the schematics that you've got so that they can see where their property is and what the distance of the runs are and things along those lines. And the gentleman that I spoke with before the meeting today was very appreciative that your staff member took the time and walked them through it.
Yeah, that's great. And I believe that it is a good thing to do because they're going to start getting letters from the grinder area and the gravity area and saying that the sewers are available. And what does that mean? They won't know until we probably have that educational seminar. So I totally agree with that. We can do that.
Mr. Fender.
Just lastly, separate topic, I just wanted to commend town staff and Chief Tina and Joe even, to whoever accommodated the Marathon of the Treasure Coast through this tough construction zone and allowing us to run that Boston qualifying marathon through here last Sunday before. I ran it, it was amazing, but I kind of held my breath because I assumed they were going to reroute, and so, again, thank you for allowing the runners in
Well, the
town.
police department did a great job, and, you know, Joe and I were at meetings, and I think there had to be at least 6 meetings that we had with the contractors, and Joe made sure if I didn't bring it up, he brought it up, so
Well, that's why I'm thanking you. I know it was difficult.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
glad it went
Especially the chief
smoothly.
and her staff.
Yes.
We have a yes. Do I have a second?
Yes. Second.
Adjourned.